Welcome. When you are studying for competitive exams, the daily news can feel like staring at a massive pile of random bricks. But a nation's strategy isn't random. Think of it like a grand, interconnected estate. One wing is the economy, another is national security, and another is the environment. Today, we are going to look at 14 specific policy updates from June 2026. Instead of treating them as isolated headlines to memorize, we are going to place each one exactly where it belongs inside this estate. By seeing how these pieces fit together, you will easily recall the facts for your preliminary exams, and you'll understand the actual logic behind the policies, which makes writing your long-form answers much easier. Let's step inside. We start in the Economy and Employment Wing. Our first stop is the entrance vault, representing a new $1.5 billion financing agreement with the World Bank. India has millions of young people entering the workforce every year. This funding is designed to help the private sector create jobs for them, with a specific focus on making it easier for women to enter the formal workforce. Moving out to the rural courtyard, we see a major shift in the rural safety net. On July 1, 2026, the long-standing MGNREGA program is replaced by a new law called VBG-RAMG. This framework guarantees rural employment for 125 days a year, with wages paid through direct benefit transfer, or DBT. Think of it as a digital pipeline that sends money straight from the government to the worker's bank account, skipping any middlemen. Down in the estate server room, the government is rolling out the Index of Services Production, or ISP. It's like a speedometer for the invisible part of the economy, from banking to software. This new index uses 2024 to 2025 as its starting baseline and relies on real-time tax data to measure how well formal services are performing. Over at the central bank scale, the Reserve Bank of India has decided to keep interest rates exactly where they are, maintaining a neutral stance. They are holding off on raising rates because inflation hasn't spread across the whole economy yet. But they are watching oil prices closely, making sure expensive fuel doesn't cause a chain reaction that drives up the cost of everything else. When you put these four pieces together, a clear strategy emerges. To turn a young population into a real economic advantage, a country needs accurate data, stable prices, a safety net for rural workers, and heavy private investment in job creation. Now, let's walk over to the International and Trade Wing. Along the estate's eastern wall, India and China are preparing for their 25th round of Special Representatives talks. These are high-level meetings led by national security advisors. The goal is to keep open lines of communication to maintain stability along a very long, disputed border. Out at the trade port, India and the United States are advancing talks on a bilateral trade agreement. Trade pacts aren't limited to physical goods anymore. The two countries are focused heavily on digital trade and building supply chains that won't easily break down during global disruptions. Inside the UK lounge, the clock is counting down to July 15th. That is when a trade deal called CETA takes effect. It's like a VIP pass that lowers taxes on goods and makes it easier for skilled professionals to work in both countries without having to pay Social Security taxes twice. Up on the observatory roof, India is pitching a new idea to its fellow emerging economies in the BRICS group. The proposal is to build a shared space economy. By pooling their satellite technology, these countries can better monitor the climate and send early warnings to local governments and farmers before disasters strike. Notice how these international moves connect. Secure borders, strong trade deals for digital goods and skilled labor, and cooperative space technology all give India more options and independence on the world stage. Let's step into the Governance and Security Wing. Inside the command center, the government has released a new 4-year vision document to fight drug trafficking. They are opening new Narcotics Control Bureau offices in Jammu and Guwahati, focusing heavily on cutting off the supply of illegal drugs while also reducing demand through rehabilitation. In the digital boardroom, the Prime Minister chaired the monthly Pragati meeting. It's like a mission control video conference where the Prime Minister talks directly to state officials to clear roadblocks for big projects, from building new roads to eliminating tuberculosis and stopping cyber arrest scams. Down the hall in the telecom lab, the government's tech lab, known as CDOT, has teamed up with IIT Hyderabad. They act as India's digital architects, building the hardware and software for our phone networks from scratch, focusing on 6G and advanced cybersecurity locks to protect our information from future threats. Physical roads and bridges are important, but they require a foundation of security. Tech-driven governance, indigenous cybersecurity, and active law enforcement are what keep the nation's systems running smoothly. Finally, we enter the Environment and Agriculture wing. Over by the water feature, the National Mission for Clean Ganga is expanding its urban river plans to 63 cities. The approach here has shifted. Instead of just trying to clean the water after it's dirty, cities are now required to plan their actual urban development around the health of the river, protecting floodplains and managing waste. In the estate's boiler room, government statisticians are testing an international accounting method called SIA. It treats coal like a bank account. If you're pulling money out of the earth, you have to track how much of that natural balance is left, not just how much cash you made today. Out in the greenhouse, a government export program called Bharati has just trained its first group of 100 agriculture startups. The goal is to reach $50 billion in agricultural exports by teaching these small businesses how to meet the strict quality and health standards required by global buyers. To grow wealth over the long term, a country has to balance its accounts. True sustainable development requires treating natural resources as valuable assets, planning cities around ecology, and helping farmers sell high-quality products to the world. We've walked through the entire estate now. A fully developed nation requires linking economic reform with social welfare, all protected by secure borders and clean environments. Let's review the floor plan. In the economy wing, we saw the $1.5 billion World Bank Job Fund, the shift to a 125-day rural work guarantee, and the new services index using 2024-2025 as its base year. Along the borders and trade ports, we tracked the 25th round of talks with China, the July 15th start of the trade pact with the UK, and the push for a shared BRICS space economy. And across the rest of the grounds, we mapped out river management for 63 Ganga cities, the new method for counting coal wealth, the push for indigenous 6G networks, and the mission control meeting tracking massive infrastructure goals. Every time you read the news, ask yourself where the update belongs in this estate. If you can place the facts into a structure, the answers will start writing themselves. Keep building your blueprint, and I'll see you in the next review.